Hello, this is Salma from Media and Public Relations, IIM Raipur. We are honored to have with us Shri Amit Agrawal. So we're very happy to welcome you to Yukti, the Business Conclave 2024. So if you let us know about the critical factors that organizations should consider when you're going to enter a new market or launch a new service in the financial sector.
If you're entering into a new market or launching a new product, it is no much different from a financial sector versus non-financial sector, I would say. But the first thing that you look at it is the regulation, I think. Second is you should be very clear about your go-to-market strategy. I think it is true in everything, manufacturing, services, BFSI. So there should always be two-stage process. One is entering into the market and second is growing. You can't just on the first day start thinking about growth. You have to first set the footstep, have the foot in the door. And third, talking about your own strengths or infrastructure available with you. Entering into everything and sundry, it doesn't make sense. Like fourth, as a, I have been CFO, true blue finance guy always. I talk about finance, think about finances. Where are you going to get money? How are you going to manage your cash flows? It is super important when you enter into a new market, when you launch a new product. It is super important to think about your cash flows for the next few years. A lot of startups spend, or I would say burn, a lot of money in marketing strategies and everything else. So you should know how these cash outflows will be managed for some point of time at least.
Yes, sir. Also, if you're going to build a high-performing team, it requires a culture of excellence and collaborations. So how do you ensure that there's an alignment with the financial objectives and the operations in general?
First of all, talking about teams, high-performing teams, I would say the most important thing is leading by example. I will take one example. When Corona started, everybody was working from home, and few months later, what we started witnessing is that people don't want to come to office. And a lot of organizations, international, multinational organizations have started thinking, how do we bring people to office? And I was no different. And that is when we started 3 days to office in 5 days. What I started doing, I started coming every day to office. I came 5 days to office and said, okay, 3 days, all my team has to come. The team quickly adopted to that. So I think that is one. Second is, you said financial objectives and operational objectives, and how do you probably build a balance between the two? I think these are not two different things. When you have a operational efficiency, you have the financial objective met. So these two are corollary to each other, and it automatically balances. When you think about operations, financial objectives will already be met. I'm a CFO, but I always keep saying that finance is one thing that you should, when you launch a product, you should think about your cash flows, and you should not look at short-term finance. You should look at long-term finance.
So lastly, what advice would you give to students like us who are aspiring to become future leaders in finance?
And never cease to learn. I myself kept doing some or the other thing even after my CA. So time is changing fast. If you stop learning, you'll be left behind. Second, I was talking about in panel is, it is too risky not to take risk. You go ahead and take every step that to encourage innovation. Third is teamwork and empathy. It is very important to deal with your peers, your colleagues, your teams, your superiors with empathy and work in the team, because today's time is no more to work in silos and you are just writing your code and then you'll achieve something. I think a lot of success is coming from how are you able to take the people along with you. And then last but not the least, I talked about, and a lot of panelists and chief guests talked about, is sustainability. I think one thing that should always be in your heart, it is not tomorrow's problem, it is today's problem. If everyone start thinking about environment, social initiatives and governance in our companies that we either work for or that we create, if we think about it, we will build a great place to work. We will build a great country. Yeah.
It was an honor getting to interact with you. So thank you so much for joining us at IIM Raipur today. Thank you.